Welcome to the regular school board meeting for the school district of Springfield Township. Today is Tuesday, October 15th of 2024. There was no executive session this evening, but we had a presentation to the public on the middle school development project, which was exciting. We'll hear more about that in the property committee updates. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The mission statement of the school district of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community. Okay, let's go to roll call. Ms. Green.
Dr. Aberly.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bell. Mr. DeFranco. Mrs. Hubley.
Here.
Mrs. Hughes. Mr. Jordan.
Here.
Mr. Needleman.
Here.
Dr. Taratusky. Mr. Bedard.
Here. Just one announcement this evening. The board at its discretion may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in policy 006 meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoons following each board meeting. And now we'll move to administrative reports. I'll turn it over to Dr. Yannico.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bedard. Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to report on a number of events occurring in the district this month, including those we have recently celebrated and those we are looking forward to in the next few weeks. Over the past month, we have enjoyed Hispanic Heritage Month, which included reading lessons and cultural activities at the elementary schools, a school-wide assembly at the middle school, and a community game night at the high school. We're very grateful to Dr. Lutz, Mrs. De Los Santos, and our librarians and our multilingual language teachers for coordinating events across the district. Over the past few weeks, our teachers at the middle and high schools have continued to acclimate to our new learning management system, Schoology, and students were given access to the system very recently. Teachers will be engaging in further training on the system tomorrow afternoon, as well as on October 31st and November 5th during scheduled professional development hours. I'm thankful for the leadership of Dr. Johnston and Mr. Lutz, as well as the support and engagement of staff members who are working collaboratively to meet expectations for this new system. Over the past few weeks, Dr. Johnston and I have also begun to meet with our advisory groups at each school, and last evening with our parent advisory. These meetings provide an opportunity for us to hear from representatives from many students and families we serve, and hopefully build avenues of communication, understanding, and growth as a district. Next week, I look forward to meeting our youngest advisory, second graders, at Enfield. Finally, today we were excited to share an update on the middle school project. We began with a meeting with students at the middle school, followed by a smaller session with our middle school staff. Just prior to this meeting, we hosted an informational meeting open to the community. At these meetings, we shared the scope of the project, including alternate options, and we reviewed the budget and the phasing of the project. The slide presentation will be made available to the public on our website, and any community members with questions should contact our Director of Operations, Mr. Charles Watley, or me. We look forward to receiving bids shortly, and we'll bring information regarding those bids to the property committee later this fall. In January, we'll host another public meeting virtually to continue to keep the community informed. If all continues to go as planned, we anticipate breaking ground in early February of this school year with an expected completion date of December 2026. Under board motions, we have a set of motions for you this evening. Within academic affairs, we have 3 motions. The first is a contract to hold a seat at an educational placement for a future student. The second is an agreement with a new agency to conduct residency checks. The third is an agreement with Thomas Jefferson University Health to provide athletic trainer services at the middle school under the supervision of our high school athletic trainer. This will provide much needed safety and continuity to the middle school athletic program. Within property, we also have 3 motions. The first 2 relate to our ongoing relationship with CHA Consulting, formerly known as Dewey Engineering. The retainer agreement has been amended to better reflect actual monthly costs. The second motion focuses on the phasing of the project, which includes 4 additional months of site management and our request for second shift work next summer to ensure that the work scheduled in the summer is completed on time. The final motion is a countywide agreement to collaborate with all emergency services in the event of a larger scale emergency in the county. We are happy to recommend that our district commit to collaboration with all county agencies in that event. And tonight we have a spotlight. I want to invite our Erdenheim principal, Mr. Ben Spiker, to come up, who's going to speak about CKLA, our new literacy program at Erdenheim. And Mr. Spiker, you may want to just make sure the green light is on that microphone. Thank you.
It is now. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here to talk to you about our new elementary school literacy program that, as you know, we went through a process last spring to adopt. And so I'm excited to share a little bit about how things are going so far at the beginning of the year.
Mr. Spiker, hold on just one moment.
Hmm.
Mr. McHugh, if you wouldn't mind making sure I have Sharon. Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. And there we are. Yep. So the next slide. So in about 10 minutes time, hopefully, if I stick to my pacing, I'll give you just a quick reminder about the program overview, talk about how we've had a strong start to the year, give a quick update about how things are going, and most excitedly hear from some students and teachers virtually about their experience in our first month or two of this program. So the next slide just summarizes some of why we picked this program. So we picked this again for Erdenheim and elementary, so K-5, Amplify CKLA. There are a number of external expert organizations who sort of review and vet literacy curriculums. Amplify CKLA, like, is highly recommended by all of them. It really focuses on building knowledge and background knowledge in students by having deep dives in topics that include things like social studies, history, science. So students aren't just reading generic text, they're learning about things like the Middle Ages in 4th grade right now, or ancient Aztecs and Incas and Mayas in 5th grade. So they're really diving deep into content, which really makes the program much more rigorous in terms of the kinds of reading and writing and thinking that kids are doing. So those are some of the reasons why we picked the program and why we think it's a great match for us. So on the next slide, we know that anytime we make a big curriculum move, especially something as essential as elementary reading, it's a huge shift. So we want to make sure that's not just about picking the right program, it's about how do we have a strong start. So this slide has a bunch of boxes. I'm not going to talk about all of them. The top are things we did last year, even before we picked the program, right? So we had a team of about 20 faculty members from across Erdenheim and Enfield who met almost every Monday afternoon, first to help pick the program, then to help plan the implementation. They worked with me and Dr. Markle and Dr. Johnston. That was, we also did a number of trainings for our faculty, not even just on the particular curriculum, but just on science of reading best practices. What is the updated things that we should be thinking about as we teach reading and writing to elementary school students? And once we made that selection, some teachers also had the opportunity to pilot some lessons in the spring. So all that happened last year. And then over the summer, starting with our professional development days in June, we had 2 full days of training from the publisher's representatives. So they came on site, and gave us all the ins and outs of how the program worked. Teachers also had the opportunity over summer, if they wanted to use their professional development flex hours to take a deep dive themselves into those first 2 units, so they feel prepared when they were coming back, that they're not trying to read the lesson plans the day or 2 before the time over the summer to really internalize brand new content for them. And then the bottom row are things that we're doing this year to support teachers, because again, it's a big shift on whether you've been teaching for 1 year, for 10 years, for 20 years, anytime there's a new curriculum, it's a big task. So we've done some things to help support teachers. First is by adding an additional weekly meeting each week where all the teachers on the team sit down either with me or assistant principal Miss Mack to look at upcoming lessons and problem solve and collaborate together because it's new for everybody. So instead of having 9 separate folks having to figure that out on themselves, let's actually take half an hour to come together and talk about that lesson that's coming up. Ms. Mack and I are also in classrooms every week to see instruction and action. So we're able to give feedback and suggestions and to look out for what's coming up that's hard for teachers so we can make sure that our support is tailored for what they most need. There's ongoing training and professional development throughout the year on CKLA. So a whole bunch of work that happened before we picked the program over the summer and then this year. So how are they going so far? On the next slide, I summarized this in 3 ways, right? Teachers are really invested, kids are really engaged, and everybody is learning a lot. So that's both kids are learning a lot, and also like us as the adults are learning a lot about how we make this program work for us, and sort of adjusting to whole new structure, whole new text, whole new expectations. But things are off to a really good start. And so don't just take my word for it. I'm asked 2 students and 2 faculty members to share their thoughts. So we're going to hear from 2 students first, and then 2 teachers.
So Mr. McHugh, I'm going to have you on hold. I may or may not have the sound set up correctly. That's what I was afraid of. Do you mind coming and helping me with that? Thank you.
Yeah. So this is William, who's a 4th grader. So we're going to hear from him in a second. You may recognize he's wearing a Harlem Wizards fundraising jersey as well here. Also, that is full of autographs that he got at that event last year.
I think it's application window. Why is it not letting us do that? That was the question. Maybe. Well, that's playing on your computer. Let's see. Yeah, it's weird that it's not giving an option for computers. That's still not.
Oh, I know. It'll be loud enough for my mic.
Yeah, we can probably do that.
I can hear you.
Because when you're in 4th grade for CKLA, well, one of the most things I like about CKLA is mostly about writing and learning. Because we learn about like rights and how to play. And really exciting because at first we used to just do journeys, which is made of stories and stuff. Not that fun, but it was still kind of good. But this is like it's more it helps us understand. It helps us understand. So yeah.
Thank you, William.
I'm going to pause that.
Yes.
There we go. I think it's this computer that was causing that. So we're gonna hit share and we're gonna.
Well, one of the most things I like about CKLA is mostly the writing and the learning, because we're learning, because in when you're in 4th grade for CKLA, you learn about the Middle Ages in your 2nd unit, and that's what I'm learning about right now. It's kind of fun because we're learning about like knights and we learned about how the plague became a thing. And it's just really exciting because at first we used to just do journeys, which is made of stories, and it's not that fun, but it was still kind of good. But this is like, it's more specific, so it helps us understand, and it helps us build our stamina. So yeah, I really
Awesome.
like it.
Thank you, William.
They are, and from 3rd grade, the other ones, they weren't really that realistic, and these ones, the illustration and the wording and all the things, like I got to learn new words like serfs and like lords and all that stuff, and I really liked it because I love history and stuff like that, like Hamilton. So I just found it very interesting that serves were like, it was kind of like unfair, and I wanted to read more about it, read any of that stuff. And like in 4th grade, I get to learn a lot more new things because of CKLA.
And so those were 2 students, and now here are 2 teachers. So Miss Chandler's a 3rd grade teacher.
We're learning about vertebrates and invertebrates, cold-blooded animals and warm-blooded animals. We read about the poison dart frog and the tree frog, and they're so excited. And the questions they ask and the conversations they have with each other, they're really developing their note-taking skills. I hear them talking to each other, and they're saying, give me more information, and they're talking to each other. They don't know I'm listening, but they're really digging into this content, and they're really digging in, and they're becoming better thinkers, they're becoming better note takers. And when they respond to a question, they're responding in complete sentences, and that's just automatic. When I ask them a question, they don't just kind of sit and wait for the answer. They're looking back in their text, and they're finding the answer, which is so exciting for me as a teacher to see how invested and engaged my students are. So I'm really enjoying it. It can be, and we started the year with me telling them we're both learning this curriculum, and so we kind of, sometimes we get stuck somewhere and we figure it out together, but just the excitement that they have for the curriculum has been a phenomenal thing for me as a teacher.
Then our final teacher,
We're learning about
5th grade teacher, Jessica Nguyen.
Hi, I'm Jessica Nguyen. I'm a 5th grade teacher here at Erdenheim, and I just started CKLA this year with my students, and I love it, and I think my students love it as well. I've definitely noticed a raised amount of engagement from my students, high interest in the stories. We just finished Unit 1, and students are super excited to write. They're super excited to share their writing. They're super excited to read the stories. We've just shifted over from Unit 1, which was all about narrative writing and about the self and identity and things like that. And now we are in Unit 2, and it's nonfiction, and it's been a very fun start as well, where we're learning about ancient American civilizations. So I am very happy that we made this change. From what I see with the students and the raised engagement and just kids really loving what they're reading, there's that. But for my own selfish reasons, I enjoy it as well, because although it's been very overwhelming with planning and whatnot right now, it makes my time as a teacher feel, I don't know, I feel like a better teacher with this curriculum, because I can see what the overarching objective is. I can tell that there's going to be something good that comes out of it. The writing is consistent and happening, and it's woven in throughout the lessons. I see an improvement. It's very small right now because it's just the beginning of the year, but I can see some of the changes happening from Unit 1 into now. We're writing paragraphs again in a different topic, but I can still see that some of the stuff from Unit 1 is carrying over. So I'm really pleased that we made this change. I was very pro CKLA from the beginning, and quite frankly elated that we're doing this. It makes teaching more fun for me. I feel more confident, and I definitely like the amount of rigor that we now have for students. So I am team CKLA all the way. I'm so glad that we made this change. That's all I have to say. Hi.
So you heard a little bit about like the units that kids haven't engaged in, like some of the next ones upcoming. Third grade, they're animals right now. They go to human body and then ancient Rome. Fourth grade, they're in the Middle Ages, the serfs and lords and all that stuff. And the kids are excited. Fourth and fifth grade that both have poetry units next. Fourth grade then has geology soon after, while fifth grade heads to the Renaissance. So kids are just like getting this broad exposure to like exciting, like interesting topics, and really diving deeply, which is really just going to help them be better readers, better writers, better thinkers. And so there's a lot of work still to be done. We're only a couple months in, but we're off to a great start so far. Any questions?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. Having been on the Academic Affairs Committee and been there when you guys were talking about and then voting on it here, it's nice to see and hear from teachers and students that what we voted on is like how it's working in the school. So I appreciate the presentation tonight. Thanks.
Of course, thank you.
Publicly thank Mr. Spiker, Ms. Mack, Dr. Markle, and Mr. Fleming, and Dr. Johnston for all of their hard work in planning the professional development, offering opportunities for the staff to actively participate in the selection of the curriculum. And I will highlight, William is one of the students we met at advisory last week, and Dr. Johnston and Mr. Spiker and I were able to hear the students' feedback. And then two things that stood out to me about their feedback about this new program. One is that they love the nonfiction. They don't know the phrase nonfiction. They talked about the fact that these stories are real, and they really appreciate that they're learning about real history rather than sort of made up stories, is the way they talked about the previous curriculum. And the other is that they talked about how challenged they are. They spoke about the fact that the lessons are longer, they're writing more, the expectations are greater, and they're being pushed. And so William mentioning stamina is because we spoke in our advisory meeting about the fact that we talked about how do athletes build their skills? How do musicians build their talent? It's the same thing about reading and writing. You have to be challenged in order to build stamina. And so I thought it was funny that he mentioned that word in his.
Yes, your pep talk, it's stuck with him.
I gave them a pep talk about raising their stamina and being ready for that challenge. So I'm excited that came along. So thank you very much to the whole team. Thanks, Mr. Spiker, for preparing this presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you to the board. That'll conclude my report this evening.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Obviously, it's the implementation was key to the early success. So thank you for all the work that went through the preparation from selection to the summer prep into implementation. So great work. All right, we will move to our reports and information. First, we will get an update from our homeschool partnership leaders. And we have Ms. Christia Donahue. I believe she is online.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. Hi.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm actually just breaking away from our fifth grade committee planning meeting that we just kicked off tonight. So we are in the throes of getting that year started for our final and elementary year families. And they're very excited to get to planning all of the events that we have going on for the year. For my update this month, I wanted to let everybody know that we voted on our budget for the year at our September meeting, our general meeting. And so our budget is set. And within that budget is our grants for the staff that I just wanted to share in our schools. This year, we were able to raise the amount that we gave every professional staff member. So they're each offered a $200 grant for their classrooms, for adding to their sort of quote wants and wishes. That is above and beyond what their budget is from the school district itself. Each principal is given $2,000 to work with, to use for supplementing things for the school itself or for assemblies, for other surprises for staff or students. And then we also give every grade level a $1,500 grant for K through 4. They get $1,500 a year as a grade to use towards an assembly, a field trip, and so many do amazing field trips with that money. And then we give our 5th grade team $2,500 because they do a couple extra events for this final school year in elementary school for their students. So they get $2,500. So we encourage all of the staff to submit their grant requests for the year so that we can give out the money that we work so hard to fundraise for. Speaking of fundraisers, our first one of the school year is coming up on this Saturday. It's our trunk or treat. It's at a new location this year. We're having it at Erdenheim. We are very excited. We have about 33 trunks so far signed up, including a special guest with our elementary principals who are going to be surprising our students with a trunk this year. We're very excited for that. Tickets are available through tomorrow online on our website. And then our pre-sale will end and we will sell some tickets at the door, but we have some fun raffles lined up. And of course, just a lot of sweet treats for the kiddos. This year, we are excited to be starting a new initiative in partnership with the Multicultural Parents Association and the school district. We have partnered to participate in the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day on November 14th. And I'll read you real quick what the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day is. The Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day honors civil rights icon Ruby Bridges and the impact she had on the educational system in our nation and racial equality. Today, Ruby's experience and message encourages students to be change makers in our schools and beyond. Our goal is to create an experience for students, educators, and community leaders to engage in dialogue about how our students can be those change makers, with the additional values of anti-racism, anti-bullying, and activism being interwoven. We believe it has the potential to be a meaningful, interactive event that brings to life the School District of Springfield Township's Equity Vision Statement. So more to come on this with details, but we will be doing events at both Enfield and Erdenheim on the morning and the afternoon of Thursday, November 14th. We will be honoring Ruby Bridges and this message with some really interactive experiences for children to participate in a walk, but also in some educational experiences at the school leading up to it as well. So we're really excited to be partnering with the MPA this year on that. And again, the school district, thank you for your support as well with Mr. Spiker and Dr. Markle helping us take the lead on that. And then lastly, we have our next general meeting coming up on November 6th at 6:30 at the Erdenheim Library. And we just invite all members to attend. That's any parent or guardian of any student in the district, as well as any employee of the elementary schools in the district are also considered our members, and we welcome everybody's input and engagement. I think that's it for tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Donahue. Any questions or comments from the board? Yeah, always a pleasure to hear the updates and awesome to hear about a crossover event with the Multicultural Parents Association, which also gives us an incredible transition to Dr. Bill Tawfiq, who's here to give an update from the MPA.
Hi, y'all. How have you been? I know you've missed me. Welcome to a new year. I know it's been too long. No, but thank you so much, Christine, for sharing that. And on top of that, of course, like we always say, no work, about us without us, and we are the us. So it's great to be here. So MPA is excited to kick off another new school year with our first meeting on October 23rd, on Wednesday at 6:30 in the middle school library. And we will be joined by Dr. Michelle Lutz, who will provide an equity update to our parents. And we are also excited about the process, also I echo that the district has done with getting together, because all parents, one of the things we say, we are all of a community for the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day, as we have heard. And so we encourage all of our students and change makers, all of us are change makers in our own right, and we'll be keeping up to date to that. And we'll stay up to date on our MPA news and events, and join our Facebook page by searching for Multicultural Parent Association of Springfield Township. Yay, that's it.
Thank you for the update. Any questions, comments? All right, appreciate it. We will now turn to our student representative, Ms. Sophia Gotti, for an update.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm just going to jump straight into my report with Enfield. So on September 27th, our kindergartners had their fairy tale Olympics that involved some candlestick jumping, not falling off Humpty Dumpty's wall, the famous Jack and Jill buck race, finding Little Bo Peep Sheep, and Little Miss Muffet's spider race. Dr. Markle and Mr. Fleming even helped out by having a tortoise and hare race for all kindergartners to cheer on. Enfield continues to add more to their building thanks to the Sustainability and Garden Committee. This year, they partnered with their food service company, Chartwells, and are in the process of developing a Try It Tuesday program where all students will have the option to sample different fruits and vegetables. They're also planning on using rainbow barrels this year and possibly developing an irrigation system for all students to visit. October 1st and 2nd, second graders took field trips to explore the grounds of Churchville Nature Center. They participated in some hands-on experiences that were enjoyed by many. Last, there are monsters on the loose, treat monsters, that is. Thanks to EEHSP, they will be having treat monsters at both elementary schools to eat unopened candy donations. Over at Erdenheim, October has been off to a great start. Teachers and students have settled in nicely for the 2024 to 2025 school year. Mr. Spiker and Ms. Mack continue to enjoy visiting classrooms to observe lessons for their newly implemented CKLI program, along with math, science, and social studies in special area classes. This month, all music lessons and rehearsals have been started for students. They continue to have large enrollments for students to participate in the Erdenheim music program. Special thanks to Mr. Gibson, Dr. Benton, and Ms. Chairway. Additionally, on October 2nd, they celebrated our custodians for National Custodians Day. Special thanks to one fourth grade student who took the lead on creating posters to celebrate our custodial staff. On October Thursday, I'm so sorry. On Thursday, October 10th, Ms. Soltis, Erdenheim's school librarian, welcomed 4th and 5th grade students for their first Reading Olympics meeting of the year. Students and staff will be spending the next few months reading selected texts in preparation for the Reading Olympics competition next spring. On October 9th and 10th, 5th grade students and teachers travel to Camp America for the annual day of team building. Each year, students spend the day building strong bonds with peers, where they rely on each other to problem solve and also have a great time. Finally, on October 19th, EEHSP will have the animal trunk or treat at Erdenheim from 3 to 5 p.m. Erdenheim hopes to see you there. As for the middle school, on October 9th and 11th, they held free CPR training for middle schoolers courtesy of our local SOAC organization. On October 11th, the middle school hosted their first Hispanic Heritage Month assembly. They also hosted a school assembly today regarding their upcoming construction projects. Magazine Drive Bingo will be held on October 21st, and October 30th, it will be a 7th and 8th grade night at SDHS. And finally, on Halloween, the middle school will have its annual costume contest. And last but not least, the high school. They've also had a busy October. The homecoming game is this Friday on October 18th. From 4 to 6:30 p.m. before the game, we will host our annual homecoming kickoff, where clubs will have the opportunity to set up tables outside the high school to fundraise and educate others about what they do. This week has been Spirit Week in preparation for the big game, where students are encouraged to wear outfits according to different themes each day to show school spirit. Monday's spirit theme was monochromatic, Tuesday's theme was Rhyme Without Reason, Wednesday's is sports, Thursday's theme is blue versus steel, and Friday's is whiteout. The homecoming dance will be held on Saturday the 19th, and the theme will be 24 karat gold. That's all I have prepared for my report today. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Gotti. Excellent update. Any comments or questions? I do have one question for you, and I know the assembly was just today, but has the feedback from students been positive on the middle school changes in the middle school project?
From what I've heard, I mean, I haven't seen much of it from the high school, but I actually have heard that it's been very well receptive.
Great. Great, thank you very much for that. Okay. We will now head over to our property committee update from committee member Eileen Bell.
Thank you very much. The property committee met via Zoom on Thursday, September 26th at 8 a.m. To discuss, as I'm sure you all know, the middle school renovations, which is no secret. I know there was meetings today with students, staff, community, budgets, and phasing and all that stuff, which I'm sure you said, Dr. Yannicone, will be posted online. Also, the property committee meeting itself is posted online if you'd like to watch those. So I'm just going to cover a high level of the meeting. There was a review of the project design and approvals, as well as the schedule and the budget. The plan is February 2025. It will start and run until December 2026. As you can imagine, there's a lot of moving pieces going on, a lot of groups, a lot of gears in progress. So there's drawings that have been presented multiple times. If you've looked at these minutes or listened to any of them, you've probably seen lots of the drawings of how the middle school will look and all the planned renovations. In addition, at the property committee meeting, the 2024 summer projects were discussed. This was the review of the completed projects from this past summer and things that are ongoing, including the high school, the track timing system and phase 2 of the high school roof replacement. At Erdenheim, the ADA ramp and the fencing project is complete except for a railing system. The high school pole switch replacement is being coordinated with PICO to have it replaced in November. And the middle school athletic and grading project, which if you've been at the middle school, you can see it's in progress with all the fences and construction workers. Right now, that's going on. And the weather surface for the high jump area will need to be postponed until a later date. Not a problem. I don't plan on being a high jumper. I don't think any of us on the board will be part of that. Also, a capital improvement plan draft is expected to be ready for review and administration in October 2024. So that's pretty much a high level of the property committee. Thank you.
Ms. Bell, any comments or questions on property committee? No. Great update. It was a very productive meeting. All right, on to academic affairs committee report, and we'll turn to Dr. Lee Aberle.
Thank you very much. So the Academic Affairs Committee met on October 7th over Zoom at 5 p.m. There was some academic updates from Dr. Johnson around the 3 new technology systems and grading information. So there was an update around Power School. So the student portal for this launched on 1st of October. And the overall grades view for the parent family portal also opened on the same day. Information was sent to families and students around how to access this. Schoology, continued implementation across the high school, middle school with faculty and students. Additional features will continue to be added over time. It's currently used for assignment tracking, syllabus grading and course instructor information. And all grades will be available in both Schoology and Power School portals for students as of the start of marking period 2. The third technology update was around report cards and interim reports. There's a move to a new system which results in documents looking a little bit different than previously. Interim reports of the first marking period will be available by Friday, October the 11th. So that should have been available. Information on how to access this was sent to families and students in the e-blast from the building administrators. Elementary report cards will be rebuilt in the new system and will look similar across the grades K to 5. There were no substantive changes proposed, just format and clarity changes. The third part of the Academic Affairs Committee, we received a lot of information and a lot of data around student achievement and academic performance across the grades K to 12. Dr. Johnson and Dr. Yannicone provided an overview of the success indicators used by the administration to examine student achievement. These included the rubric A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A for attendance, B for belonging, C for curriculum, D for discipline, E for engagement, F for feedback, and G for graduation rates. Following that part of the presentation, there was then a lot of data presented around student belonging, so the district-wide student belonging data for 23-24, district-wide student engagement for the same period, high school graduation rates over a 3-year trend, profile of a graduate self-assessment, the PSSA performance for grades 3 to 8, Keystone exam performance, again, a 3-year trend analysis, AP performance, and then there was feedback shared around rankings and performance from the US News World Report and Niche, and then overall analysis for the goals across the student achievement and staff development areas for the coming year. Each building administrator and director shared their goals, rationale, and action steps and measures of success for the 2024-2025 school year around departmental and building action plans. And similar to property committee, all of the great details that were shared and really insightful data can be seen in the slides or by watching the recording of the Academic Affairs Committee. In summary, there was a good focus for growth, looking at increasing access to core curriculum, supporting students in challenging themselves, providing in-time support for intervention enrichment, building comprehension systems for examining student need, and building and expanding our infrastructure to support teaching and learning. There were no public comments as part of the meeting, and the next date is tentative for January 2025. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Everly. Any questions or comments on academic affairs? Great update. As always, the content in that meeting impresses each and every time. Okay, we'll move to public comments on agenda items. I'll turn it over to Mr. Needham.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. At this time, we'll take comments from the public on agenda items. I do not see that anyone has signed up who is joining us in person. I'll look to see if anyone wants to join us online, and I'll just ask anyone who is joining us online who does wish to make a comment, just please raise a digital hand. While we're waiting for hands to be raised, I do just want to remind everyone, we have a 3-minute time limit, and if you do want to make a comment, I'll ask simply that you let us know where you live in the district or in the township, same thing, before you make your comment. And with that, I don't see any hands raised. Can I include them?
Somebody in the.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we will move to our business section of the meeting. First up, we have approval of minutes. The recommended action here is the Board of School Directors approves the board minutes from our September 17th, 2024 regular board meeting. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favors, excuse me, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, minutes are good. Our approval of the treasurer's report, recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the September 30th, 2024 treasurer's report for the attachment. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. And any abstentions? All right, the report is good to go. Under Human Resources, we have personnel. The recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: administrative personnel, confidential personnel, certified personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities for the 2024-2025 year, and conference workshop attendance. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions on the personnel? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And any abstentions? All right, personnel file is good to go. Under academic affairs, as previewed, we have 3 items. First, the agreement for educational placement. The recommended action here, the Board of School Directors approves the agreement between the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit number 23 and the Springfield School District to place student number 2024-1015-01 at the MCIU Anderson School effective September 30th, 2024. Is there a motion? Give it a second. Any comments or questions on this item? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Great. Item number 2, Private Detective Agency, ELPS. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the agreement with ELPS Private Detective Agency and the School District of Springfield Township to perform investigatory services. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions? I think it's worthwhile, Dr. Yannicone, if you could, we are obviously familiar with the background, having read the contract and the materials. It sounds scary to have investigatory services. So can you explain the context for the public?
Absolutely. So it's a common practice for school districts to conduct residency checks when there are questions in order to protect, obviously, the asset of the district for our taxpayers. And so we've done some investigation of our own into agencies that have good success rates. And so we're real happy to recommend ELPS as a new agency to conduct our residency checks.
All right. Any other comments or questions?
I have a question. How frequently do you normally have to use these types of services?
Infrequently.
Okay.
It's a good question. All right. All those in favor of moving forward with the ELPS Private Detective Agency, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Okay, that will pass. Next item is Thomas Jefferson University support for clinical experiences. So the recommended action here is the Board of School Directors approves the Master Training Site Agreement with Thomas Jefferson University for educational clinical experiences at the Springfield Township Middle and High Schools. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Hearing none, that will pass. No items for finance this time and none for policy. So we'll move right to our property items. First up, CHA Consulting, Inc. Retainer Agreement. The recommended action here. The Board of School Directors approves the amended retainer services agreement between the School District of Springfield Township and CHA Consulting, Inc. Is there a motion? Thank you. And a second. Any comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? All right, we'll build on that and go to the CHA Consulting Management Agreement. Recommended action. Board of School Directors approves the amended construction management agreement between the School District of Springfield Township and CHA Consulting, Inc. for the Springfield Township Middle School renovations and additions project. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions? I do have one question. I know we're amending this to reflect the actual run rate of expenses and revised services. Just wanted to make sure that this doesn't have any impact on the total project budget timeline. This is just about reflecting actuals based on some changes that have been made.
That's correct.
Okay. Great. Does that spur any other comments or questions?
No.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Hearing none, we will update that agreement. Third topic, mutual aid agreement for emergency services. The recommended action here. The Board of School Directors approves the Eastern Montgomery County Mutual Aid Agreement for emergency services. Is there a motion? And a second. Thank you. Any comments or questions on the mutual aid agreement? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And any abstentions? Great, that will move forward. That concludes the meat of our agenda. We will move on to public comment on non-agenda items. And I'll turn it to Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. At this time, we'll hear public comment on non-agenda items. As before with agenda items, I'll just remind anyone who wishes to speak that we do have a 3-minute time limit, and I'll ask that you identify where you live in the district before you make a comment. I don't see that anyone has signed up to join us online, in person, excuse me. But I do note a couple folks who have joined us a little bit after the meeting started. You wish to speak, or do I misunderstand? Okay. So why don't you come on up to the microphone and please, if you would, introduce yourself and where you live in the township?
Microphone. Oh, yeah, thank you.
I didn't know
It's
about
much
this
more
bit.
formal than you thought.
It's become formal all of a sudden after speaking to a microphone. Okay. Hi, my name is Tim Hinkey. Yes, I am definitely live in the district. I live in Flowertown. Don't have to state my address, do I? Okay.
No.
But lived here for 20 years, 4 kids, through the school district, starting with my 2 oldest ones who came here when one was in high school, one in middle school, and have my other 2 children have been in the school district all our lives, all their lives, I should say. One of the reasons we chose to move to Springfield Township, I'll be honest with you, is because of the school district and the reputation of the school district. So overall, been very, very pleased with the district. I've never, ever felt that I've even had to voice a concern, really ever. So this is my first time ever doing this. But I am one of the owners of Superior Guitar Works, was a Hicken Design. So I've worked in the music industry all my life. I restore vintage guitars for a living. Very passionate about that. And my 2 youngest kids have been involved in the music program ever since they could be. My daughter was the black belt in the recorder thing, and she's been in band, and same with my oldest kid. He's been in jazz band. He's graduated now. He's moved on, but he was in jazz band from 6th grade on up and been very involved in the music program, both of them. So it's with a little bit of trepidation that I have to come up here and even say anything, but I have definitely noticed a pronounced change in the high school music program over the last 2 years, I would have to say. And I think it started with the implementation of what seemed to me to be a very unpopular program, both with the students and with the parents, with the mandatory purchasing of these uniforms that the band and chorus members have to wear. It's like an $85 purchase. And
I'm sorry, 1 minute left.
oh, okay. Oh, geez, that's right. I am somewhat verbose. My apologies. At any rate, so that was a real concern, and it was very unpopular, and it was implemented. And there's people coming up from the middle school that I know don't want to buy these uniforms. I've been hearing about that. And the other issue that I have is with the chorus. The numbers have been plummeting. My daughter is Snyder School of Singing, and she's been involved in chorus, and she does the a cappella program on Fridays. Oh, it's a highlight of her week. Looking forward to Mr. Gibson coming in at the end. And now I'm given to understand that because the chorus numbers are so low, you cannot sing in the a cappella program unless you're in chorus. My daughter does not have it in her schedule to be in the chorus class next year because it's no longer voluntary. It has to be a class. And it has to be a class because they have low numbers. So the only thing that's really changed is we have a different person running the program, and it doesn't seem to be working out so well. So
Thank you. I'm sorry, that's time. Good comment.
that's it. That's all I have to say.
Appreciate the comment, and certainly the administration heard you tonight, and yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
Thank you indeed. I don't see that anyone else has signed up to speak in person. I'll look to the folks joining us online and ask again, if anyone does wish to make a comment, please raise a digital hand anyway. And I don't see any hands raised, so I believe we can, I'm speaking slowly enough and killing enough time, probably close things down.
That was my fault. I hit the wrong button on the
Not at all.
Thank you,
Well
Mr.
done.
Needleman. All right, we will do some announcements to close the meeting here. We have some future meeting dates to make very clear. For board meetings, we have an interim board meeting coming up on Monday, November 4th, 2024. That will continue to be hybrid. That's tentatively scheduled, just making sure that we need it. But mark your calendars, November 4th. And then our next regular board meeting is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024, also a hybrid meeting. We welcome all to attend in person. We are here in the Audion located in the middle school next to the cafeteria. And we have some committee meeting dates coming up. Finance Committee will meet on Thursday, October 24th. That's 8 a.m. and that is a virtual meeting. We have the Finance Committee meeting also meeting on Friday, November 8th at 8 a.m. That's a virtual meeting. And then Property Committee will come together on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024, also 8 a.m. And that is virtual. So for those who like an early rise to talk about finance and property, please join us on those meetings. All meeting details for committee are available on the district website, including registration, so you can attend virtually. I think that's everything we have. I just wanted to open it up to the board if there are any closing comments or questions for the administration that you wanted to share. Good. Dr. Yannicone, any closing comments or questions that you have?
No, thank you.
Great. Well, on this Tuesday, October 15th, I just want to thank everyone for attending, both here and virtually, and we'll adjourn and we'll see you next time.